Hello, everybody. So here is Black Angel again, and I'm here to talk to you about ESTPs. So, who are ESTPs? ESTPs are extroverted sensing dominants. What does it mean to be an extroverted sensing dominant? To be an extroverted sensing dominant means that this person is going to be and embody strength, power, and political influence. Political influence means that they have the ability to gather people around them to be leaders and to lead everybody. So they're leaders. That's all that there is. Political influence in that sense. They're going to be leaders in a group at high school. They're going to be leaders in the company, or they're going to be leaders in some way. That's what an extroverted sensing dominant is about: leadership. Political influence in that sense, power in this sense, but also in other senses. So anything that is included in the idea of power is something that the ESTP is going to have a strong command on. Strength. When we talk about strength, we can talk about physical strength or not. In any way, they're normally beautiful people. Like they look good. They're really good looking. Even if nature wasn't as good as it could be, in some way they will find a way to be good looking. And here I'm talking about very strange cases that I never encountered. But the ESTPs that I met in my life in some way embodied beauty. So they are really good looking individuals, and they have a very personal and personalized attire and style that represents them, and that's extroverted sensing dominant power again. Strength, physical strength. A lot of ESTPs are extremely active individuals, meaning that they enjoy sports. They are constantly active in a physical sense. But it's not necessarily so. There can be the two opposites. So if the ESTP is someone strong, brave, and able to throw themselves in the crowd and or very active, extremely active, they're going to be against wimps and all of those people that are worth nothing in their eyes, because they're not active individuals and they do nothing. They're pointless individuals. That's how they're going to see them. If the ESTP, on the other hand, is not instead an active person, because they prefer a different kind of strength, like intellectual strength, for example, they're going to see those who are hyperactive as instead people not to take into account, people that boast something that doesn't matter and stuff like that. There's these two extremes. Personally, I never encountered an ESTP that embodied the second group. I thought I had once, but when I went down realizing it was an ENTP. But the theory says that this kind of ESTP exists, so just for fairness, I'm going to list them. My personal experience sees ESTPs as super powerful, strong individuals that want to achieve the most that they can, normally entrepreneurs in some way. Very, very powerful people anyway. Another thing that extroverted sensing is the ability to apply the right amount of strength in any possible situation. So applying the right amount of strength in terms of fighting, meaning knowing how much strength to apply in a fight, how much strength to defeat the opposition, or destroying them or not, depends on what they want to reach. But they know exactly how much strength to apply. They also know very well how to reach a specific goal, how to get from here to there. But the thing that strikes me the most about ESTPs is something that I have been seeing, looking, and analyzing recently, and that's their ability to build huge massive amount of followers wherever they go. They may be professors at the university or students or, I don't know, entrepreneurs of some sort, and they will have bazillions of people following them and wanting to do as they tell them. Well, not necessarily that way, but that's kind of what it looks like from the outside. Because when you go inside, people never really want to do as others say. So they basically would want the ESTP to lead them where they want to be, but then they do not do what the ESTP tells them. That's what happens in reality. But what it looks like from outside is that these people have these huge, massive amounts of people revolving around them. If you don't see a whirlwind of people around the person, that's not an ESTP. That's my experience. And that has something to do with extroverted sensing, because ESTPs always know what to do and how to reach goals. So in whatever situation, whatever environment, whatever goal they may have in mind, they know how to get there. Another thing that is very interesting about ESTPs is that they have willpower for themselves and for others. So you tell them, I want to get from here to there. They're going to have the willpower for you to reach there. And that's very, very important for INFJs, because INFJs instead lack that willpower. They tend to get stuck and become apathetic. So ESTPs, strong, powerful individuals, they have the willpower to lead anyone anywhere, and the ability to know how to get there, how many steps to make, which steps to make to achieve that goal. This is extroverted sensing in the dominant position. Their second function is introverted thinking. What does it mean? It means that contrarily to what everybody thinks, ESTPs are instead highly intelligent individuals, probably some of the most intelligent individuals that you can find in the Mbti. And that's because they can understand pretty much anything. The only thing that stops them is if they're interested or not. If they're not interested, they're not going to care about that thing. So they're not going to pay attention. They're not going to even try to understand it. And that's because they consider the thing useless to them. But if they stop a second and they look at it, they're going to understand it this quickly. They don't really need to focus much. They also have a very big, broad, and bulky knowledge about the things they care about. Always things they care about. That's something that I noticed about them. What else can I say about introverted thinking in the second position? It's a creative, so it's in a position when introverted thinking is in the second position, it means that the person is not attached to their understanding of things so strongly that they cannot change it at all. They're normally very, very versatile in this sense, and they enjoy actually renewing and changing, molding their structures and their idea of the world according to new experiences and new things that they may encounter and learn in their lives. So they're highly intelligent and very versatile in their understanding of things. They can easily change their minds if they see that the previous idea they had does not actually correspond to reality. Well, it's very difficult that an ESTP doesn't see things the way they are, because extroverted sensing is a very objective function. So they do not have the passage that most people have of interpreting what they see. They see things the way they are. So if they have a green bottle in front of them, they're not going to say it's a beautiful green bottle or it's an ugly green bottle. Or it's a useful or useless green bottle. They're going to think that's a bottle, it is green. Green useless, bottle useful. I can use bottle for this. That's roughly, a little mechanically, how they view the world. They do not think exactly that way. It was just an example to show how they view the world. The utmost objectivity that you can come up with. That's how they view the world. So they're going to look at you, if they're your trainer, for example, an ESTP is your trainer, they're going to look at you and tell you exactly how your body is structured and what your body needs to do to get in a better position. For example, I had to do an ECG to go to the gym in September, and I accidentally stumbled into an ESTP cardiologist, and it was pretty fun because I was laying on the bed, and I was having all these things attached. He looked at me and goes like, "How many kilos do you lose?" And I'm like, okay, I lost 22 kilos. Why? Because it shows from the tissues of your body. They lose and they need to tone up. And I'm like, oh my god. And then he told me how long it would take according to his idea of things to tone up and what I should be doing, and he explained me everything I should be doing, and I was like, okay, I stumbled into an ESTP doctor, and it was pretty funny. Anyway, yeah, that's how they are. They look at you and they see what they have in front of them, and they are going to tell you exactly what they see. So that's something particular about ESTPs. One thing that I'm going to say but not say exactly is that they have a very uncommon way to communicate, and here I think that's something that only a few individuals will be able to figure out, and I'll leave you the fun of figuring that out for yourselves. Inferior position, introverted intuition. Now this is a little bit of a question mark for me, because introverted intuition is a matter of seeing processes in people's minds or in things, and cause and effect, causality. So basically the idea of introverted intuition in the inferior position should be that the ESTP isn't sure about cause and effect. So what effect will cause will be given by a specific action that they take. So they basically are never entirely sure when they are specifically around people. TI gives them the possibility and the ability to structure exactly where they want to go when it comes to business or to physical matters, to very practical matters. But when it comes to people, they're never entirely sure where they're heading. This should be the idea of introverted intuition inferior in ESTPs. So they're not entirely sure if they behave this way, what kind of future reaction they're going to have. Kind of in a Newtonian way with people, connected to people specifically. But I'm not entirely sure because, like I said, I read around, especially in Filatova, and my bunny seems to confirm that they don't really need a lot of help in that sense because they normally have TI to back them up. So even if causality is not their major strength, in some way they can reach the conclusion anyway. So yeah, I think it's more likely a cause and effect thing in personal matters that they need intuition, or a more one-on-one thing like introverted intuition kind of affection is extremely patient and sacrificial. So introverted intuitive dominants are people that are able to sacrifice themselves, to submit, to the point of becoming doormats. They can reach that point, some of them, not all of them. So that's something that ESTPs need. If you want to make things happen in society, then you're going to need people to do exactly as you tell them. And introverted intuitive dominants have this ability or this characteristic actually of being extremely patient and submissive. Intuitive dominants of the world are going to raise and try to kill me because they don't want to be that way, but they are. Sorry. I'm probably one of those people that will never say things unless they're true. So, yeah, introverted intuitive dominants are extremely submissive. And actually, their kind of love, if you want to check it up in socionics, is agape love, which means that they can take a lot of prep. Like extroverted sensing is a very crude and very rough kind of function. And introvert intuitive dominants are going to be able to take the extreme and even excessive in some ways for other types crudeness and directness of extrovert sensing dominance. ESTPs are particularly direct individuals, and they tend to have difficulties finding a good feedback on the other side because of their extreme straightforwardness. So that's something to consider about introvert intuition inferior. So they mostly need to be followed, worshipped, and regarded as high personas. So that's basically what introvert intuition is and does for an ESTP. Third function is extroverted feeling. Extroverted feeling in the third position means that ESTPs have some sort of ability of handling people, but they tend to find themselves in difficulty creating positive atmospheres. So they enjoy fun atmospheres and happy environments in which people are enjoying themselves and having fun, but they cannot actually create that for themselves. So they tend to remain at a side or kind of in some way join the fun when they find it. So that's one trait of extroverted feeling in the third position. They like to party. They're looking for the fun everywhere they go. And that's something actually interesting, because INFJs, who are their duals, are instead people that live life as a party. So INFJs see life as a constant party and a constant holiday in some way. They see everything as a game, as a fun in some way. So the ESTP's self-esteem is based on their ability to find and maintain a happy state of mind, a happy environment, or find themselves in a positive atmosphere and in a positive environment. So that's what their self-esteem is based upon. These positive environments around them. What else can I say? With whom do the ESTPs get along? Like I said, their dual is the INFJ, so they're going to get along with the INFJ. Careful with that though, because a lot of INFJs actually see ESTPs as anything that they're not. So they have some sort of judgment that leads them to see ESTPs in a way that they're not. I'm not going to say these things because I personally don't enjoy hearing that. I personally had a lot of discussions with INFJs that I met in my life that said things about ESTPs that I was like, what the hell are you talking about? That's not that type. Anyway, yeah. I think it's mostly connected to the fact that ESTJs are so widespread in the world, and INFJs meet a lot of ESTJs, and therefore they're scared of sensory types. ESTPs and ESTJs are quasi-identicals, so they can look similar at a first sight. Anyway, moving on, with which other types do they get along? As far as I've heard, ENTJs, anyway, the beta quadra types, of course, possibly not that well with ENFJs for some reason. I'm not sure why. Probably because ENFJs have a free will of their own, and they cannot contradict the ESTPs well, or go against it. Whereas the ISTP, being an introvert, tends to be a little bit more silent about their opinions. The ISTP tends to keep their opinion for themselves, whereas the ENFJ tends to speak before thinking. Actually, if you watch my previous video, they do not think at all. So Yeah, that's probably why ESTPs and ENFJs do not get along very well, or better, ENFJs would get along with ESTPs, but not vice versa. They tend to get along very well with ENTPs. ENTJs, they have a strong clash with ISFPs. Do not put ESTPs and ISFPs in the same room. That's the worst idea that you can have. And we will see why when we will talk about ISFPs. Anyway, yeah, that's pretty much with whom they get along. Not Delta Quadra types, of course. Anyway, yeah, they enjoy making fun of INTJs. Sorry, I will never understand why poor INTJs need to be slapped by ESTPs. That's something that they have. They enjoy making fun of these little savants and these kind of people. What else? Anagrams that the ESTPs can be. I'm never sure about this one because ESTPs are a very particular type. They are naturally strong, so seeing fears in them is not that easy. So I would personally go for Enneagram 8 and Enneagram 7, possibly Enneagram 3. These are the anagrams that I would attribute to ESTPs. Pretty sure I met 2 Enneagram 8 ESTPs in my life. Even though I heard that they're not very, very common, so must be me, I don't know. Anyway, Enneagram 3 very likely because of the focus on the image, and extroverted sensing is image focused. I once thought that even Enneagram 2 would be possible, but then I thought that it's not that possible because Enneagram 2 integrates by understanding introverted feeling matters, which is not very likely for an ESTP, to do. So I would say, yeah, I would stick to Enneagram 7, Enneagram 3 mostly, and then Enneagram 8 as last. I think this is pretty much everything I have about this topic, and I will close this here, and I will see you soon, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.